All right, fam. So let's get into it. I think that in this reading, in today's reading, we're going to see, is the person that you're with a soulmate, or are they more of a karmic type of energy? Let's see. I'll take 2 cards. Okay. So I'm hearing Spirit say we should do 2 piles. So, okay, I'm sorry. We're doing 2 different perspectives here with these 2 cards. I think we're going to be looking at their perspective as well as your perspective. I think it feels like someone in the connection is feeling stifled in some type of way. And this is making them this might be you having a negative outlook on the connection. And I'm hearing Spirit say, like, that's kind of irrelevant, you know? So let's look at your energy right now, and we'll do some clarifiers later once we get a scope of the land. I see you have card number 33, Heaven Sent. You have the Infinite, Stars, Sun, Stars. Okay. So when I'm looking at your energy right now and the way the cards are falling, I feel like it's very important to really see that in this connection, you feel like this connection is what the universe has sent to you. It is your soulmate, your twin flame, blah, blah, blah. This person, they have facilitated a certain type of environment for you to be able to grow. Whether or not that environment was a happy space, I'm being told is irrelevant, but it was a growth period for you. And it may have been a long growth period, okay? Seeing this card poke out to me that's in my card deck. And I feel like you guys, you really have like a very unique way of looking at things, but you're very much like the exact opposite of each other. When they're hot, you can be a little colder. When they're cold, you can be a little hot. And it gives like this person, they can be very fiery. And when I heard fiery, I heard like they're very up. Let's go. Let's do this. Fast-paced motions. They can tend to slow down with certain decisions and things like that. But I feel like they're a very fast-moving type of energy. And when they slide up against you, your energy is more of a self-reflexive, relaxing. There's this feeling of imperial or royal type of energy where it's saying, pace yourself. Now, depending on, and now if this is you, you know, roles could be reversed, but I feel that there is like this synergy between you and the relationship. It feels very yin and yang. And that's not always great when it comes to trying to meet eye to eye and really going into like these more revelating factors. I feel like for someone like you, the perspective that you have upon this connection is really like you're willing to grow with this person and elevate with this person, and you can see their true soul's knowing. And something about that really keeps you in this connection. And it's because they've created an environment where you are able to unmask and unfurl yourself, to release yourself from a lot of stuff. And I feel like you have worked really hard, like, not to discredit your work, like, you've really been doing the fucking shadow work, you've been doing all the things, but I feel like the environment that was created between the two of you to allow this to occur is something very deep. And I'm hearing, in you doing so, it allowed someone else to slow down enough to ask questions that maybe they weren't quite ready to ask, right? Maybe they weren't ready to ask these questions to the spirit. Maybe they weren't ready to ask these questions, but because they saw you doing it, they began to ask the questions. This is someone who learns by doing. They learn by doing. They don't tend to... That's so strange. They said they don't tend to do things on a whim, even though it's like they don't do healing work on a whim. They're the type of person that would rather and go do worldly things, quick, fast, to go into a money venture, to do work, to pick up a shift, to if you have a problem, they're quick to try to find a solution. But when it comes to self-reflection, it is the one thing that they are not quick about whatsoever. And Spirit is saying they had to learn what it meant to look at you, to look at themselves, to reflect upon how that makes them feel, to reflect upon what that truly means to them. And as you've learned, you are like the true magician here. You've balanced yourself and you have such long and far sight. This person really appreciates how you will come into a given situation and you will show them the trajectory on how to move, how to go, where to be. And I feel like this may not be a serious question or whether or not this person is your soulmate, but more so a question on how this person interacts with you, because you guys are so polar opposite and y'all do things the exact same way, but in the reverse of each other. It can rub up against each other in a really uncomfortable way. But that uncomfortability is what creates change, what is best for both of your evolutions, because in certain areas of you guys' chart or like your personality, you're very slow moving, very slow paced. You're very stubborn. And both of you have it in different places. Where this person has it with self-reflection, you may have it with moving forward consistently in a certain type of way without getting discouraged. And this person has a lot of tenacity, a lot of push, a lot of vitality when it comes to certain things. So when I'm seeing this energy here, I'm hearing Spirit say, this is the space to be in, but it is not a comfortable space all the time. And many of us, I'm hearing you had to detox this idea of someone who was going to come in and save you. There is this sleeping beauty kind of mentality. Well, if I do A, B, and C, I become this type of person. I say these types of things. I will attract the perfect husband or the perfect wife or the perfect person that is for me. And then what it does is it creates this illusion or delusion that you have to be someone other than yourself to be loved. It creates the delusion that someone is so superficial that they would need an inauthentic version of you in order to love you. It brings up generations and generations of curses that is within your family line that says a woman should be seen and not heard. A woman is for the house. A woman's place is in the kitchen. And this may not be like specifically geared toward, there may be some things, if you're a male, you know, there's men should take care of A, B, and C. They should be handy. They should be the provider. They should be the disciplinary. They should blah, 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 blah. It's like the gender roles in this relationship are very skewed. And and Spirit is saying, for those of you who are in the beginning of this process, some of you are coming in, have been with this person for a while. And so you have started to work through these problems. But a lot of the things are that you have had problems with or having problems with now is that this person and you were trying to hold on to gender standards, gender norms within your culture, gender norms within your society, what people expect of you based not only on your gender or your sex, okay, because, you know, people identify as something different, somewhere in between or whatever they identify as, but we're talking about sex, what people see as soon as they look at you, right? And when they look at you and they see a male, when they look at you and they see a female, there is a specific idea that is garnered towards you. And especially if you are LGBTQ, this can be very hard to navigate, because even in same-sex partnerships, even in different partnerships with different titles, depending on who is taking on the masculine and the feminine role inside these connections, you are taking on the stereotypical role inside of your mind and what you think that role should be. And because of that, that has been a lot of what you fight about, a lot of what is happening that makes it abrasive, and it becomes more and more abrasive, and it becomes more and more, and what's happening is Spirit is slowly shaving you down, both of you, so that you could be genuine, you could be yourself, you could be the truth of who you are, and not just being whoever or whomever life or the people, your family, etc., your situations, the world has molded you to be. And because of this, you're able to do things a lot differently now. You're able to move a lot differently now. And you have the strength and the resilience to move through it. And I think that that was something that you had to overcome over long stretches and periods of time. It was very difficult for you. It was very difficult for you. Let's look into your partner's perspective now. This person, when they met you, they were in the dark. And I feel like for a lot of you, you are chosen, you are light workers, you are people who walk with heavy light on them. And maybe even when you're in the dark, you might be the brightest thing in the room. But I hear this person, the light had been strangled out of them. There was only embers just flickering in the dark within them. Many times they thought to put that ember out. And when they met you, when you came into their life, you shined like a bright sun. And for someone coming out of the dark, it is blinding. It is blinding. And for some of you, those people shielded themselves. They almost felt like they were running away from you while also pursuing you in such an intense passion, because they know that you were what they needed. They know you were who they needed. But their wounding from the world caused them to pull away. This person, when they are with you, the entire world shines. It's 222 on the clock. And when the world is bright, when the world is shining, when it is pure, it's almost as if all of their worries go away. It's like you have enchanted them. It's like you yourself are magic and they are blessed to be in the presence that you are. This person, you have helped them navigate life in a way that they never thought possible. You have helped them connect into, I feel like this person, when you met them, they weren't spiritual. They didn't care for just anything, honestly. And for some of you, they were still into organized religion, but tiptoeing around because they didn't feel comfortable there. And you came in and you showed them being. And when you showed them being, it was like you showed them that being themselves, being with the Creator, being was all that they needed to be. And for a while, you could see here and there they would fight you in, it was like made up situations, honestly. It was situations that weren't necessarily situations of, that needed to go into a dark place or a combative place. But they went to those places because in those dark spaces were the places where they refused to look at themselves, where they refused to see who they were being or who they are. And it was very scary for these people. It was very scary for your person. They were very afraid to go into that dark again after they had been with you and it was bright, and they didn't want to go back into that dark space. Many of you are still here with this person. You're going through this currently, and it is painful. You know exactly what they need, or you can intuit that. You are very strong in understanding, but these people must take this road alone. You are only there to hold space so that it is safe for them, so that they don't fall into the pit of despair, never to return. I feel like someone has said that to you before. I don't want to go into the despair. I don't want to feel despair anymore. This person is diving for their light. They're looking for the light that is within themselves. And for a long time, your light carried them. It ushered in the way for them. But now they're able to look inside of themselves. They're able to see their own truth. They're able to look into their own knowing. They're able to be and not feel the pain of the past. They're able to wake up in the morning and feel joy without the disdain of what pain might come in the future. They're able to work toward their goals without what's the word? It's like they no longer feel the worry, the angst. Manifesta. This is something that you've manifested within this person. This person is also a starseed elemental. You have I think you guys have known each other for quite some time. And I think you were meant to activate them into their soul's knowing as you were pursuing your own. That's so beautiful. And it has been like pulling fucking teeth. Oh my goodness. I feel that this person, they are very logical. They always have been. Their energy feels like science, like the wonder when people understand space for the first time, or when people watch like Star Trek, it's like the wonder of what's out there. But it's like that's their essence of their soul. And sometimes they get bogged down. They may be a creative person, or they may be someone who has stifled their creativity to become more structured. And you'll find that this person, the more and more that they look for themselves, that they they unravel, they peel back the onion layers of themselves, they'll start to see the truth within that. And why their perspective is the way that it is. This person, they hold power. But the type of power that they hold is the power to shift thinking. And that's why they're so logical, they're so grounded. They shift people's thinking by logically articulating certain thought forms. And as they work through in certain thought forms that lead to certain emotional reactions and processes, it's almost as if they are going through the process that you're going through on a logical level. It's like you're going through it on an intuitive level and they're seeking it on a logical level. But it's almost like you're coming from the inside out and they're coming from the outside in. And you trade tips as you kind of go through this buoyancy of going in and out. This person, they want to speak their mind more, but they wish that you would speak yours. You have such wisdom, and a lot of the times you choose not to say. You choose not to speak. They want to know what you really want. Is this what you want? Is this the relationship that you want? Is this the place that you truly want to be? The World. You guys just closed a cycle together, and I feel like that cycle was a very painful cycle. There may have been some things going on with people outside the connection, or things that are not quite, the word that I want to say is whole. Let's see what this energy is. The Hierophant in the reverse. Shuri, if something is broken, make it better. The Hanged Man. If you want this connection to really work, and this person is willing to do the work, they're now seeing things from a different perspective. It was a painful perspective to have. And they understand that a cycle is closing, but they don't want it to close without you. Father of Swords. I feel at one time, this person, their words are very sharp. So when they talk about certain things, it can come off as if they don't care. They don't have, they're not considering you. Sometimes they say things that they don't mean. These people are really willing to work on it. I think previously they did not. And because of that, this cycle closing wasn't smooth. It turned into a lot of extra shit that it didn't have to be. And they know now. They know that they were being difficult now. They know that they were running away from the work that they needed to do. And they are so sorry. Something else that's showing up here is that this person really understands how they've hurt you. And I feel like it's, for some of you, it's not just a recent thing. It's also a stretch of the relationship. I feel like there was a moment where you opened up and you spoke a truth. And the truth ripped off every Band-Aid, every scar, every scab, everything that this person was trying to pretend like wasn't festering, and you showed them how it hurt you. For some of you, you're too afraid to say these things or to make this moment, but Spirit is urging you to do so. Speak your truth. This person may or may not be willing to hear or ready to hear what you have to say, but it is your business to open your mouth and let the truth be known. Ace of Swords in reverse. You have the opportunity right now to think differently, speak differently, but you're not. You're approaching everything right now from the same perspective as the past. Spirit says, take this idea and face it in the correct direction. Approach things in a new light. If this is what you want, then you need to stop focusing on the past. Stop holding the past against this person. But that doesn't mean that you need to forget your feelings, process them. That doesn't mean that what was done was all of a sudden righted, because if they have yet to right it, then it must be righted. But I'm hearing your approach needs to be different moving forward. The way that you speak and the way that you do things, it must be different. Father of Pentacles. I feel a lot of this has a lot to do with money. You feel like you want to have more money in this situation. There may be a dynamic of one person makes more money than the other. There also is this feeling of competition in the relationship, whether that's you being in competition with them or them being in competition with you. But I feel like at a certain point, you gave up on this idea, but you still see every day how unfair something is. And this is making you very unwilling to relent. You spent a long, long time waiting for someone to see the truth in you, to acknowledge who you were, to care about the things you care about. And you gave many opportunities to this person, and they did not do those things. It was like they did under the surface, but they didn't. The things that they did, the way that they moved, it just wasn't it. It just wasn't all the way right. And no matter how much you complained, no matter how much you pointed things out, it just agitated the situation. And this was very painful. But Spirit is saying it's time for you to stop being in this space where you're moping, where you're purposely putting yourself in hermit mode when you are ready to get up and fly up out of this reality that you feel boxed into. You have shifted timelines multiple times since then, but you still carry the vibration of that pain. And it's time to start processing that and working through that. Because in reality, you have the abundance and everything that you want. The abundance may not be coming from where you want it to come from. Everything financially may not be perfect, but everything is there. You have the seeds and you have the plants that are thriving, the versions of yourself that have created this version of you who is thriving, who can thrive better, who can elevate better. But you have to do it on your own now. And that doesn't mean that you have to leave the person that you're with, but you have to stop relying on them to do it for you, to help you, to cry when you cry, to care when you care. Even though they expect that of you, there's a reason why you're reflecting that to each other. There's a reason. What is that reason for you? With the Devil in reverse, a lot of the things were removed. A lot of the ideas that you had But you continue with this thought pattern. If you don't shift it, you continue to operate as if the devil is upright. As if the illusion that you believe is not in front of your eyes is not identified. This is the truth. But there feels like there was more to that truth. From your perspective, a lot more things had happened a certain type of way. The spirit is telling me, not only were you slightly paranoid, but you were very anxious. And some things are just a deduced illusion that you created, and you lived inside of that illusion till it became a delusion that it was your reality, and it was never. Only the perspective you had gave it that power, and that's because you needed to heal from previous things that had happened before this relationship. And you needed to create those scenarios in order to process past them. But it also called for your partner to get in touch with parts of themselves that they weren't able to truly see until they saw what was happening in you, how they were affecting you. And in this moment, it was like you both brought out the darkest in each other. It was like your darkness met and started to fight, like fist fight. But I'm hearing it doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to be all the way 10 toes. You don't have to be always yes, yes, yes. That's an illusion. That's a delusion that you feel like you need to do to keep this person in your life. Some things aren't good ideas, and they should be said so. Sometimes you should say things that hurt their feelings because that's where they need to reflect most. That doesn't mean that you need to go about being an asshole, but it does mean that sometimes somebody will act an ass and they need to be shown that they need to put that ass away, that they need to go wash that ass. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you walked around and you got something in your teeth, wouldn't you want the person you with to let you know instead of letting you smile in everybody's face with your shit stinking and your mouth smelling like booty? Okay? I'm just saying. If you walking around because you on keto trying to lose weight and you smell like halitosis, don't you want somebody to give you a mint or some gum? Because just outright saying your breath stink does not solve the problem. Does that make sense? It's not pretty, but it is what it is. And Spirit is saying, stop trying to save them from the truth of the matter. It's not cute. It's not pretty, but it is what we need to do. It's where we need to go. And it's you being committed to that situation, that understanding. You often try to lighten the blow for others, but this is not a space where you need to be doing it. It's a space and a time and a reason and a season for that. But you've been doing it the whole time. You need to let that shit go immediately. You are so powerful. But sometimes you allow that power to escape you. This person currently is having a hard time shooting their shot, whether that's at work, with you to put things together, but they're trying to make an amend. I see it like paper being ripped apart and they're trying to mend it back together. It's giving paper mache. They understand now. They're sorry it took so long. Are you able to give them grace? The reason why some soulmate partners aren't meant to be together, Spirit is saying, is because they cannot go through the pain that it takes to heal each other in the process of loving each other. And often, because of that, they depart each other early in the connection. Early being the first 5 to 10 years. The reason for this is because we are, in our society, we are shunned on hardship. And hardship isn't always financial. Sometimes it's the scarcity of love. Sometimes it's the habits. It's the ideas from one family to another, from one culture to another, from the shifts that we need to make. And it is very, very different. Allow the person you thought you had been in love with this entire time to die. All that you have within your mind, if this is what you truly want. And for those of you who have already spoken, when you opened your mouth, and for those of you who will, when you open your mouth, the person that they have of you in their mind will die as well. And this will be the initiation into a different stage of your relationship, where you are no longer forced to be the person you were and grew out of. And they are no longer forced to be held to the ideals of the past self. Then you will be rebirthed into the new versions of self who can actually execute the goals and aspirations, or reform and recreate the foundations that those forms should stand on, so that they can adequately and rightfully so be made the truth of what you wanted, without being a walking contradiction. I feel like some of you put petitions on this, and Spirit definitely hijacked your petition. I'm sorry. But it's not for the worst. It's definitely for the best. But for some of you, you thought that petition didn't work. It definitely did. It just took a long time because you both needed a lot of soul work. Okay. All right, guys. I hope that this reading really satisfied you, okay? That this reading really tapped into a space that you really needed to hear. I feel like what was given in this reading was something that just simply cannot be faked. If this is for you, I want you to know that what you put in was worth your time. It was just hard. And allow it to be that. Allow it to be hard and still let it be beautiful. Allow it to be a journey. And sometimes with journeys, you get blocked off from where you came from and you can't go back. And in this particular space of where you're at, there is a point of no return. And Spirit says, when you cross over into that type of commitment, when you cross over into that type of relationship, that type of bond, there is no going back. Will you step into it? For some of you, this means moving in together. For some of you, this means proposal. This means marriage. For some of you, you have been in a marriage with this person for a very long time, and you thought of being separated or may have been separated for a while, and y'all are talking about getting back together. Been divorced, talking about getting back together. I'm hearing it is your choice and your choice alone. But to be told, hold, and true, this person is for you if you want it. We will never keep you where you do not want to be. Choose for yourself. And with that, we will continue forward as desired. So you are, and so it is. Continue to move with the guidance of your highest I. Take this reading back to your guides, your ancestors, and the highest version of yourself, the I am presence, and the higher self. And allow them to guide you on the path that best fits. But all in all, you still have free will. So move with what you think is right in the judgment of your highest I. I'll see you guys in the next one. This has been the Alchemical Oracle, and I hope you continue to stay blessed and move wise.